What's good, and welcome to another episode of Diary of a Tiger with Markel Crawford on the Kazukian Network. Today we have a very special guest, University of Memphis Assistant Athletic Director, Mark Alnutt. On this episode, we will discuss Mr. Alnutt's journey to where he is today, the transition from Southeast Missouri to the University of Memphis, some of the things that he plans to do to make this university great, and also pick his brain a little on the importance of athletes getting their degree. Lastly, Mr. Alnutt's competitive spirit and how he plans to instill this competitive nature in the athletic department. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is Diary of a Tiger with the one and only Markel Crawford.
Or you should keep quiet while the MC rap, but if you tired, then go take a nap.
It's R&R on sports.
Hello, I'm Uncle Howard.
Jennifer Conroy.
I'm Larry, the fantastic Robinson. Your host for R&R on sports. Get Out podcast. Get after us. We look forward to having you.
R&R on sports. Part of the Kazukian Network.
Rolling down the street with my radio on, listen to Funky Politics.
The mayor of the city of Memphis, Mayor Jim Strickland. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Dr. Sharon Griffin. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Good afternoon.
What you say, Grandpa?
Did he call me Grandpa?
We keep it real, we keep it right, and we keep it funky.
Funky Politics. Part of the Kazukian Network.
Good afternoon. This is Diary of a Tiger, and we have our special guest, Mr. Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director for the University of Memphis. How are you doing today, Mr. Alnutt?
Hey, Markel, I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. I've been reading a lot and seeing if you came from Southeast Missouri, Athletic Director. You talk a little bit about that journey and how that journey helped you to get this job.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's interesting to bring that up. I just came back from a conference called Emerging AD where I was chosen to speak to aspiring athletic directors, and the same question was asked to me. And I go back even further back than when I was at Southeast Missouri State University. I go back to when I was a football student athlete at the University of Missouri. And the reason why I'm in this business is the experience I had as a football student athlete. It was a great experience. It was something that you develop a passion for, and my passion was to work in athletics and be able to kind of help guide the next generation into this role of being a student athlete. What it takes to be successful, what the pitfalls are, but at the end of the day, I have a passion to make sure they have the same type of experience I had, because once you have that experience, you become engaged alum of the university, but you also want to share your experience, your positive experience that you've had with people. So, being the athletic director of Southeast Missouri State University, it was a situation where I ran my own shop, so to speak. Grew programs, grew budgets, hired coaches, raised money. But, it's at a level that wasn't at the highest level in the NCAA. So for me to come to an institution that's the FBS level, so to speak, because everything's associated around with football, gave me an opportunity to come to more of a national program that had a national brand and be able to have an impact, on this athletic department.
Those impacts from Southeast Missouri, the things that you did for that school, just talk a little bit how it affected that community as well as the university. Well,
I'll tell you what, when I first got there, part of athletic director, you want to meet with as many constituents, as many people as you can. And, one thing I did is I had all these one-on-one meetings with people in the community, people at the university, and then also people, within the athletic department. And, I wanted to hear from them in terms of, what needs to be done at SEMO, as it's, affectionately known. And one of the things that came out was, you guys aren't known. We know you have an athletic department. We know there's this university here in Cape Girardeau. We know you have an athletic department, but no one knows you. So one of the things I wanted to do immediately is to, obviously create a mission, for athletic department. And one aspect of that mission was community involvement. So one thing I did at SEMO was, we raised the level of involvement of our student athletes, of our coaches, of our staff, going out in the community and telling our story. And it was something that we created called Red Hawk Road Trips, where we went up and down this I-55 corridor, as I call it, from St. Louis to Memphis, and just talked about our brand, made people more aware of our brand. So that's one aspect of something that, really engaged the community. People knew more about us. Our student athletes were out in the community, our coaches were, and people knew what we had to offer, which was a good thing.
This is Diary of a Tiger with our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director for the University of Memphis. You talked a little bit about community involvement with players. Let's talk about how important with those players to be involved in the community, for people to see how involved they are.
Well, first of all, it starts with the kids, and I have a special affection for kids, because they would go into neighborhoods, and whether it was reading, after school to kids, everyone wants to be, the next LeBron James. Everyone wants to be the next, Cam Newton. Everyone wants to be the next, Derek Jeter in baseball, whatever the case is. But, the importance of having our student athletes, go out to the community is, here's what it takes to at least get to the level I'm at in college. First and foremost, it's about the books. Because, Markel, you and I both know, coming up that there were people that were probably a lot more talented than us, but was never given the opportunity to play for University of Memphis or to play for University of Missouri because, they didn't focus on the grades in school or, they were associated with the wrong crowd and didn't want to listen to people who were trying to guide them the right way. So, the importance of having student athletes go out there and tell people, hey, this is what it takes. You might need to disassociate yourself with some of your friends or some of these people in order to make it work. You might need to pay a little bit more attention, in that math class, in that science class, because, the NCAA, you have minimum expectations. You need to even have the opportunity to play, a sport in college. So that was a message that, a lot of our student athletes went out to talk to these kids about, which is important.
Yeah, seeing that you are very big on academic excellence, just talk a little bit about how important it is for student athletes to get their education first before being an athlete, seeing that it's more important to get your education.
Yeah, it is because, we all know we all aspire to play at the highest level in our particular sport. But I tell you, the good thing about it is when you have the ability to use your God-given talent to be a driver for education, man, that's something you can't take back, which is tremendous. So the other thing is, a career in the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, whatever the case might be, it doesn't last for long. We all know that. So there has to be something you fall back on. So when we talk about the development of a student athlete, how academics is important, walk away from your institution with a degree, first and foremost. The other opportunity is start creating those relationships. The relationships that are going to matter. Like, for example, Markel, you and Larry here, that's a heck of a relationship to start in the job that you're doing here to, when you walk away with that degree and say, something with basketball doesn't quite work out with it, you know what? You're going to have something to fall back on. Number one, that piece of paper that you walked across that stage for, sometime in December or May, whatever the case might be. But these type of experiences, so when you're looking for that career, you're going to have a person right now that you can use as a reference. So, again, athletics, this is great. It's something that, again, we have the talent to do. But at the end of the day, don't sacrifice the academics aspect of that.
This is Diary of a Tiger with our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director from the University of Memphis. You spoke a little bit about relationships and keeping those relationships and networking. So I read a little bit about a quote that you said about how, I didn't make the NFL, but guys sometimes say it's the coach playing me or I'm getting screwed by the coach. As you said, you wasn't that type of guy. You're more focused on getting relationships and being thankful that you even had the opportunity. How important is it, like you said, for those relationships and for people to understand, like you said, it goes beyond just those sports?
I think that's important. And, man, where'd you get that quote from, man? I need to see where I said that. No,
it's in the Memphis Daily News.
No, you're right. No, but I tell you what, it's one of those things where I look at it as this, that, regardless of whoever you meet in life, and it might be that first impression, or it might be that person that, serves you food in the dining hall, or that person that sweep floors. The impressions mean a lot. How you first interact with that person and you've been respectful of that person. So that transcends to not just those frontline people that take care of you that you might interact with, but, again, your professors, your coaches, your athletic directors, your trainers, whatever the case might be, people that you see in these events that are donors to the program, that are Memphis fans, because you never know where a relationship can build in something that might benefit you. So I always say never sell a relationship short. Be genuine, be true to yourself, when people come to you and ask for something, you might not have it, but you know what? Give them an alternative, whatever the case is, because you never know, again, how that relationship would benefit you. It benefited me because I went through a coaching transition, very similar to what you're going through right now, where, the coach that recruited me, that gave me the scholarship left, and a new coach came in. And, I was a little bit lost in the shuffle in terms of playing, but I was a team guy, still played, started, whatever the case might be. But when I was done, instead of playing that blame game, if the old coach had been here, it might have been different, whatever the case might be, I utilized that as an advantage to kickstart my career in athletics.
It's just something you just didn't let it take an effect on you. Just
exactly
keep
right.
pushing forward. It's just knowing it's some in the long run that will help you, just that relationship.
And sometimes, Markel, some things out of your control. So you got to make sure that you utilize the best usage of whatever that situation is. Because if you can't control the situation, all right, first of all, you got to make sure it's a fair situation, for you and yourself, and then you just move forward. It might not be what you want, but I tell you what, if you do it, gracefully, respectfully, and you maintain those type of relationships, you never know 2 years, which in my case it was 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, where, that interaction that you had, that relationship that you had was genuine and real, could be able to help benefit you down the road.
This is Diary of a Tiger with our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director from the University of Memphis.
R&R on Sports with iConversation.
The Executive Director of the NBA Players Association, Ms. Michelle Roberts.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
He is currently Managing Director and Chairman of USA Basketball, Mr. Jerry Colangelo, with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you, guys. Nice to be with you.
The one, the only, Detlef Shrimp.
Hey, Howard and Larry, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Ken Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Catch iConversation on R&R on Sports, part of the Kazuki Network.
Blues in the Basement, live interviews from some of the biggest blues artists in the country.
Say it twice. Bobby Rush.
Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush.
Wonderful. May God bless you all. All right.
People keep asking me to sing about a good man.
Blues in the Basement. Stay up to date with the biggest blues festivals in the world. Blues in the Basement. Now podcasting and available on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. And download the Blues in the Basement app.
I mean, this music just makes for a good time. All I need is a beer and some babakoo.
And some babakoo.
Blues in the Basement. In the Basement. In the Basement. In the Basement. In the Basement.
Uno. I'm not a Puerto Rican, but I'm speaking so that you know. And understand I got the gift of speech.
Welcome back. This is Diary of a Tiger with our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director for the University of Memphis. Mr. Mark, I just want to ask you, how do you feel about your new job here at Memphis, and how is it affecting you?
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm loving Memphis. And that's genuine as genuine can be. It was, I'm on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, but also Facebook. Been on Facebook the longest. So Facebook, as you may or may not be aware, they have this memories function where a year anniversary pops up. And on July the 9th, it was a 1 year anniversary where I brought my family down here for the first time to check everything out. I started on August the 10th, but just to think about that and realize it's been, a little over a year since, I said yes and came down here. And then you look at the things that we've been able to accomplish, for the athletic department. And, from a capital campaign standpoint, we've raised, we were at $21 million that was raised in the silent phase, meaning people really didn't know what we were doing. But when we opened up the public phase of our Time to Shine campaign, we've raised $16 million, close to $36 million, right now on that capital campaign, which allowed us to put the shovel in the ground for the new basketball facility that's going to be open next year. And then also, hopefully this fall, be able to start building the football facility. So both facilities are done for the 17-18 school year. So that aspect right there has been something unbelievable because, again, I talk about being in that national spotlight. Everyone's talking about, what we're doing and how we're about to open, if not the best, one of the best basketball practice facilities, in the nation, which is tremendous. Then you look at, coaching searches. Justin Fuente, head coach of football, he leaves to go to Virginia Tech. Then we're able to hire Mike Norvell as a high-profile hire right there, and Coach Norvell's doing a great job with the football program, and we're excited to see what happens there. Your former coach, Josh Pastner, decides to leave to go to Georgia Tech. That gives us opportunity to hire a future Hall of Famer, Tubby Smith, which, I had, I was heavily involved with both searches. So again, those type of opportunities, raising money, hiring coaches, trying to better the experience of what you guys are having is something that means a lot to me. So it's been a good move, and I'm excited to be here. My family's excited to be here as well.
This is Diary of a Tiger for our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director from the University of Memphis. Mr. Mark, just some of the plans you guys have just to make our university, like you said, one of the best in the country. Some of the goals and some of the goals that you and Mr. Bowen have. Well,
I tell you, first of all, credit to you, Markel. I mean, hearing that you're going to graduate in 3 years, that's a tremendous accomplishment. And that's part of, what our mission is for the athletic department from an academic standpoint, is graduate our student athletes. Because, again, what we talked about earlier, about the importance of earning that degree, at least giving you an opportunity to put that foot in the door, where that foot wouldn't be in the door if you didn't have your degree. You talk about the GPA. We're still in semester after semester, overall GPA is over 3.0. We talk about a grad rates. We talk about APR. So from an academic standpoint, we're doing very well. We can continue to do very well. When you talk about vision and facilities, with the basketball facility, with the football facility, coming online. We just did a softball facility. We're looking at ways to enhance our soccer and track program. So again, we got more things in terms of being able to help the student athletes, be able to help the coaches perform, recruit, what have you, are in the pipeline there. And, I think also the last thing is, just the ability to continue that national brand. People talk about realignment. People talk about the Big 12. People talk about, whatever power conference movement is going to be happening. For us to continue to position ourselves, well, and be a main point of that conversation, which I think we're doing. So again, a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of stuff that we're concentrating on to be able to again put Memphis in the spotlight.
So I've read you are very huge on competing and just being just great at what you do. So let's talk a little bit about your competitive spirit and how great it is to have that trait as a sports player, athletic director, no matter what you're doing. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's just my background being a student athlete, and unfortunately at the University of Missouri we didn't win too much. We didn't win too much, but still you hate to lose, and that's a passion that you have. But you know what? Even though you hate to lose, it's not the end of the world. But you always like to compete. So for me, I want to be the best at what I do in this position nationally. I want an athletic department, regardless, Power 5, Group 5, whatever. I want us to compete, at the highest level possible. And it's something that, again, is just my mental makeup and something that will continue to be that way. I got this Fitbit that I'm wearing right now, so I'm always competing with 3 of my teammates at Missouri about trying to get as many steps as we can. So my daughter runs track. I might need to have her wear this watch sometime, and when she's running that 1,500, get those steps for me while I'm sitting down watching her. But no, I mean that's a trait that you just want to see. The university succeed. You want the communities dying for a winner. You want that winner for the community. At the end of the day, I talk about experience of the student athlete. That's a component. Winning is a component. Getting a degree, being involved with the community. But at the end of the day, to walk away with a championship, I mean, that's something you're always going to carry with you the rest of your life. Seeing as you said how important that trait is, as student athletes, we see getting that competitive trait starts with the hire. Seeing that you, Mr. Tom Bowen, yourself, we feed off you guys simply because we know how hard and how much you want to be the best in the country. So I think from that is just something the student athletes feed off of. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and our thing too is we want to be as visible as we can. Sometimes the unfortunate aspect of this job is sometimes you're stuck behind a desk. Responding to emails, having meetings, whatever the case is. And my first year, I would say some of the faults on me is, I haven't had the opportunity to just go out and watch, a few practices, whether it's yours or whether it's going to, the soccer field or volleyball, whatever the case is, just to be
seen, and not to do it just because, hey, I need to check this off the list. But you know what? Part of that is to let you guys know that, man, you got an administrator here just watching practice. That person cares. So, for us, we appreciate that, and at the end of the day, it's about the student athlete, and that's why I got in this job, and whatever we need to do to make things better, and whatever we need to do to put you guys into a better competitive place, it's our duty to do it.
This is Diary of a Tiger. And once again, with our special guest, Mr. Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director for the University of Memphis. Mr. Alnutt, a special question I wanted to ask. This is something I read a lot about, and it's just about your aspirations as to be an athletic director for a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, it's funny, and again, a lot of this parallels with this conference I was just at, and part of my presentation was on this. It goes back to having those relationships, but part of those relationships is having a mentor. A mentor is a person who can help guide you professionally, personally, spiritually, but is also a friend. So a mentor of mine was the former athletic director at the University of Missouri named Mike Alden. And he's the one that really helped mold me and really put me in position to do what I do now. And I remember one day, he asked me, what's your long-term goal? And I looked back at him. I said, hey, I want to sit in your chair. And not just any chair, but, I want to be the AD at the University of Missouri. And he told me, he said, well, you know what? Here's what you need to do to start you on that path to get that done. So, for me, I say Power 5, and, at the end of the day, if that happens, that's a heck of an achievement. But also at the end of the day, if I stay here supporting, Tom Bowen or whoever here at the University of Memphis, I'm excited, I'm happy, and I feel that, I've making the proper steps to try to achieve that goal. So, you will see what happens, but I think what we need to do before you can. I tell people this: before you can think about the next step and what that next step can potentially be, you got to be doing the very best job possible at the position you're at. And so there's always, regardless of the title that you have behind you, there's always room to grow. There's always room to improve, and there's always room to learn. And that's the stage I'm at to try to better myself. Which I feel that if I better myself, I'm better in this athletic department.
This is Diary of a Tiger with our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director from the University of Memphis. You talked a little bit about learning and having that knowledge. The importance of learning from people ahead of you, people that you're working with, and just to be getting that knowledge, like you say, relationships, and the importance of having those relationships.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, there's so many parallels with this interview just based on the conference I just came from. So I was a presenter at this conference. I wasn't a participant. So, and I didn't speak until the conference began Sunday night with the reception, and then went all day Monday, and then we were done around noon on Tuesday. So I didn't speak, to these participants until it was probably 9:45 on Tuesday. But leading up to that point of before I presented, I'm in the back. I'm taking notes on what the other ADs are talking about, or what the other assistant ADs are talking about, or what the organizer is talking about. So through that, even though I was there as a presenter and not a participant, I walked away with about 2 pages of just notes, some things that I can apply to my position. So, it's valuable when you're in those situations like that. Obviously, you're in school, the classroom is part of it. Reading is big, just grabbing a book. There's so much knowledge that can be gained from a book. It doesn't have to be that novel like Gone with the Wind or something like that, where it's 1,000 pages. But, just being in a position to constantly educate yourself and understand, the world that we're in, understand the profession that we're doing, because again, there's not one person that, has all the answers. And it's also an opportunity for us to try to, help each other.
This is Diary of a Tiger for our special guest, Mark Alnutt, Assistant Athletic Director at the University of Memphis. So I want to thank you for taking time out your schedule to be on Diary of a Tiger, and we're looking forward to talking to you again.
Hey, Markel, I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
It's R&R on sports.
Hello, I'm Uncle Howard.
Jennifer Conroy.
I'm Larry, the fantastic Robinson. Your host for R&R on sports. Get Out podcast. Get after us. We look forward to having you.
R&R on sports. Part of the Katsukian Network.
Rolling down the street with my radio on, listening to funky politics.
The mayor of the city of Memphis, Mayor Jim Strickland. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Dr. Sharon Griffith. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Good afternoon.
What you say, Grandpa?
Did he call me Grandpa?
We keep it real, we keep it right, and we keep it funky.
Funky Politics, part of the Katsukian Network.
I want to thank Mr. Mark Alnutt for taking time to stop through and join us on the show today. Once again, one thing I'll be carrying from this interview today is gaining relationships with different people and building on those relationships and also gaining trust. For all you eager Tiger fans out there, workouts have been phenomenal so far. Coach Smith has brought a sense of toughness and a family-oriented feel. The guys have bought in, and everybody is a family right now. I want to give a major shout out to Coach Pooh on helping us with our ball handling. Coach Pooh has a string on that basketball, and he is actually helping us to actually gain moves, double moves, whatever you want, he has it. Don't forget to go listen to our shows on the Kazukian Network, R&R on Sports, Blues in the Basement, 3BC, which is 3 Black Chicks, Funky Politics, and of course, my show, Diary of a Tiger. Thank you for joining us on Diary of a Tiger today. Be safe and stay cool.
Diary of a Tiger is recorded live at LPI Studios in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Hosted by Markel Crawford. Produced by Larry Robinson. Executive produced by Kazukian. Diary of a Tiger is a part of the Kazukian Network.